My goodness, where do I even begin with introducing today's guest when it comes to personal development and self-development and entrepreneurship? Dean Graziosi is at the top of the list. He is super successful, owns multiple companies, partnered with Tony Robbins in 2019, and is someone that I really admire in this space. When you follow him on social, you feel a sense of kindness and graciousness, and that he really wants to show up and serve and make a difference. And he is someone I have wanted on this show for quite some time. And today was the perfect day because with everything that's happening in the world, Dean really brought it home. The opportunity for you. The opportunity for you to show up in a greater way. He called it the Great Awakening, and how we're on the verge of this opening and that we can't wait for someone to save us, that our time is now. And he gave us so many tangible tips. Of course, Dean gave us great advice. And he also shared the upcoming challenge that Tony and he will be doing starting in August, called the Time to Thrive Challenge. So no matter where you are in your life right now, whether you've started a business, you've always thought of starting a business, or let's just face it, this time in the world is scaring you, this interview, I promise, is going to fill your soul with inspiration and real strategy to move you forward. So get ready. I'm super honored and excited to bring you Dean Graziosi. Dean, you have no idea how excited I am to have you on ILTV today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Well, it's good to be here.
You know what? I have to tell you, I follow a lot of people, and there are those people that you hear. And I swear, Dean, every time you speak or I watch one of your reels, I'm literally like, yes, yes. And so during this just really crazy time in the world, I'm always thinking of, what does my audience need? Who do they need to hear from that reminds them to dream it, live it, be it? That although this world, I feel like, just keeps getting more bananas, that there is hope and there is so much opportunity. And so when I'm looking at who do I want to have on my show, usually I have women on my show. And Dean, really, you were like at the top of my list. I need to get Dean on the show because I just love how you show up. You're so authentic. And being that, you've been in the teaching space for so long, teaching people how to be on camera really comes down to what you talk about, which is showing up to serve, being your most authentic self. And you've actually said lately that you feel like we're on the verge of a great awakening. So let's talk a little bit about that, because we could talk about your background. I think it speaks for itself. What I really want to talk about today is, how do we move through these times with greater insight, greater possibility, and commitment? I think there needs to be like some serious commitment.
Well, first off, Keri, I said this to you before the camera went on, but I really want to say this. Congratulations to what you're doing, the impact you're making, the people's lives you touch, because at the end of the day, we all need to step up in times like these and be the best version of ourselves. It's the only way through. I think we all can agree there's no politicians coming to save us. It doesn't matter if you like the last president or you like the current president, or you hate both of them or you like both of them. It doesn't matter. You realize whoever the next person is in charge, no one's coming to fix it. So if no one's coming, it's left on us, all of us individually. And I think we're in a place right now where we're being pushed so far apart. And I know we have more in common than we have the opposite, right? That we don't believe in, but that's just not the way it's portrayed, right? The extremes are what is portrayed. And I know that I'm not trying to go down a political road, but I think in times like this, and you asked a great question, I want to get to it, so reel me back in. But I just think it's really important, if you're going to spend some time with us today, I know how precious your time is. There's a million things you could be doing, a million podcasts or interviews you could be listening to. If you're going to spend it with us, I want to give you what I've learned by being an entrepreneur for 35 years, by being in a marriage that wasn't the best, and now I'm married to the love of my life. I've made mistakes in the past, and I get to be in this space. I've been through 2 recessions while I was in business, and I understand how to navigate that really well because of life experience. So if we're going to spend time together, I just want to give you the best of my ability. And the one thing I would say is, if we start off realizing no one's coming to save us, like I already said, and it's on us, it's so liberating.
Yes.
Because we don't have to rely on anybody else. So therefore, if we're going to have to depend on ourselves, then we have to gain the greatest capabilities we can to go to the next level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you say the Great Awakening, is that what you mean? Like, this is an awakening for us to realize, hey, Like no one's coming to save us. We get to take responsibility over our life right now. What is
Yeah,
that what you're talking about? Like what does that mean for you?
I think the great awakening for me, it was a podcast, it was a quick video I did on social and it went viral. Everybody is talking about it. And what I mean by that is we all have to wake up. Like, I think COVID gave us a little bit of an awakening. Some people said, hey, I don't have to commute to a job. Hey, I'm not going to sacrifice my family for a job anymore. I'm going to figure out how to do something from home. I'm going to get better at what I do. I'm going to start a new business, or I'm going to just say, hey, I'll figure it out. I think that gave us somewhat of an awakening, but it's not enough. Like, all I know is, and I know I didn't make this up, Keri, but I want to share this. At the end of our lives, and I really want you to hear this, and this is a great way, I think, to start this conversation, is at the end of our lives, if our maker, whoever you believe that is, God, whatever your beliefs are, but if our maker played us a video of the man or woman we could have been, I think that if you put that in perspective today, would you care about what other people thought about you? Would you care about going after who you're meant to be? Would you care if your friends said, oh my God, she's starting a new business. Oh, can she really do that? Would you care? Would you dim your glow to match people around you? Would you care about what the media said? Would you let all this divisiveness affect you, or would you affect it? Would you become the thermostat of your life rather than the thermometer? So when I say the great awakening, really what it means is we all need to wake up. Let's stop letting the outside world affect us, and let's find the capabilities. It doesn't happen overnight, but whatever it takes for you to be stronger, to go, no, I'm not letting the news affect me. I love my husband, but that's his dreams. God gave me this vision, not him or my friend or my mother. I just think the only way through this is for all of us to wake up a little more and realize that the media is not there to serve us. The media is there to get ratings. The newspapers are not there to serve us. They're there for a headline that gets you to stop.
That's right. Listen up, my friend. Listen up.
Nobody's there to serve us. They're doing it for their business, for their profit. So we need to wake up and say, the small minorities on either side that's making us feel uncomfortable, that's not the majority of the people, and we can't be paralyzed because of that. We can't be crippled because of the news. We have to find ways to say, if I want to make the world a better place, I need to make a better world in my home. If I want to change the economy in the world, I got to change the economy in my home. If we want to change the conversation about race, about separation, or about uniting, we have to change that in our home and our community.
Yes.
So all the great awakening, if I'm going to be transparent, or, use that word, it wasn't about this big movement. It's about, we all just need to wake up a little more. We need to pay attention a little more. We have to stop settling a little more. And I think if we do that, there's no way we can't affect change.
1,000%, Dean. Love that so much. And I think, when people are listening right now, they're probably all like, yes, I love it. I'm going to church. This is so good. And what comes up is, this is great. And how? How do I create these changes? How do I take responsibility? How do I generate more wealth? And as someone, Dean, you've been in the entrepreneurial space for a very long time. Like you said, you've been through a couple of recessions yourself. And I know Tony calls this like we're heading into winter. It's like, by God, from the pandemic to, the recession or the onset of a recession, what would be your maybe 3 top tips right now for someone
great
who is
question.
kind of feeling the fear? And I'm like, okay, great. I can take a responsibility, but what do I do?
Yeah, great question. So, since I've been doing this so long, and I have been in business for myself since 17, I started a firewood business, right? I've never worked for anybody in my life. I'm partners and I work with Tony now, but I never worked for anybody. I started a firewood business, then I started fixing wrecked cars, then apartments, and then houses. And it's just been a natural evolution.
And really quick, Dean, just a quick offshoot. Did you have really entrepreneurial parents, or is this something that you were just like,
I
don't want to work for anyone?
Yeah, I just watched my parents both struggle. We all have our story, and not poor me. Thank God for the journey I went on. But I watched both my parents struggle. And my father had the entrepreneurial flair. Unfortunately, never really got momentum, but he wanted it, right? And I watched my mom work 3 jobs to make nothing. And all I just remembered was, I just don't want their life.
I don't want to do that.
It's not knocking my parents, but they couldn't come to my games because they had to go to work. They got divorced when I was 3 and got married and divorced a lot. And it was always about money, always about not enough time. And I was just like, I don't want that. And I see other people that have more freedom and more control of their lives. I want that. So I always just gravitated to where I'm not settling. And, when you're young, We could call it naive. You could call it dumb. Nobody had told me no enough to say, hey, you didn't go to college. You don't have money. Nobody in your family's rich. You're not going to make it. I was just dumb enough to believe I could. And what a gift. I'd love to give that gift to everybody listening.
I could not agree with you more. Like, if we only knew what we were getting ourselves into, maybe we wouldn't have done it. But it's the greatest gift too sometimes.
But the reason I say that is because I want you to hear me today. If you hear nothing else about this interview today, listen to this one part. Take what serves you from this interview, throw the rest away, but keep this one. I love the thought of going upstream, because sometimes you're listening right now and you've tried a business, you've tried to do your own thing. You've tried multiple things in your life and it didn't work. And sometimes we blame the process. Maybe it was the wrong business. I shouldn't have gotten real estate. I shouldn't have tried that online thing. And we got to go upstream and find out what was the root cause that maybe sabotaged you on each one of those and you're not recognizing it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to share something you haven't already heard. If you're here with Keri, I guarantee you've already gained great capabilities, great skills to overcome, but I want to maybe be a reminder service today. In most cases, there is a thought process, a story or belief. You can use Tony Robbins terms. It's a limiting belief. It's a story. It's a thinking pattern, something that when you get close, it self-sabotages you. And that could come out as imposter syndrome, self-doubt. I'm afraid, nobody believes in me. Whatever that is, if you find that, sometimes you get to pluck the root of the problem out and it makes everything easier. So first off, I would say when we get uncertain, COVID, recession, gas prices, inflation, uncertainty gets high, and that voice, that thought gets stronger. Yep. Hey, we should sit on our hands. We should freeze. Let's just see, wait, what happens? No, this is not a time to freeze. This is a time to gain capability and take uncomfortable action. So one is identify what it is. I'm not going to give you the whole routine, but it's like an enemy that's already cost you way too much in your life. Identify the enemy and start doing whatever it takes. Listen to Keri more, listen to Tony Robbins, listen to us, read a book, go to a retreat, do whatever it takes to evoke the inner strength that you have, that inner confidence, that inner hero, and shut up that voice that's already cost you too much. That's number one. That's upstream. That's not telling you.
So good. Go upstream. Yes. Yeah,
it's the second one to go upstream, right? This is going to be 3 upstream strategies, right? The second one is, and this is what you're going to be like, oh, this guy's so smart. No, it's really simple. We don't do anything in our life good. We don't take courageous action, right? Taking courageous action is uncomfortable action. It's taking action. It's jumping out of the plane and growing wings on the way down. Courage is not moving forward in the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward when you're scared to death. So how do you find a way to move forward, right? So if we go upstream and we think about nothing good in our life happens when our confidence is down. Think about it. You've never asked for the date. You never go for the job. You can't get the sale. You don't get your kids to do what you want. You don't sell. You don't move forward. You don't innovate. You don't think about where the world is going when your confidence is down. When your confidence is down, you're more like, we'll see how things go. Or how about this one? Oh, things aren't that bad. I should be happy with the life I have. BS. Yes, you should be grateful, but if you're meant for more, you should be doing more, right? Mm-hmm. So if confidence kills your momentum, then let's go upstream and find out what robs your confidence. Now, this is the simple thing. I love simplicity. What if this week you audited the things that came into your life, the people who gave you words, the things you watched on TV, the things you look at when you're scrolling, and you identified this builds my confidence or this takes it away? Think about it. When's the last time you watched the news and felt more confident? Have you ever? Right? Do you get done and go, honey, oh my God, I watched the news. I want to start this business. That
was such an empowering news segment tonight.
Right? You should watch it at 5. You missed the 4 o'clock. You could catch it again at 5. No, you never watched the news today and feel better. So if news makes you feel bad about yourself, lack of confidence builds the imposter syndrome inside of you, and then you sit on your hands, then maybe you should stop watching the news for a little while. Or that certain friend that you love to death, you've known forever, but every time you meet her for lunch, you want to go home, you're like, oh my God, I'm so scared, I'm fearful. Maybe you should limit your time or shift that conversation. Maybe when you think about the hard part of doing your own thing, rather than those unique abilities that you have in your life, maybe when you think about the things you're not so good at, we've been taught to work on our weaknesses. It's the biggest lie in the history of the world. You
Yes.
find out what you're good at and get amazing at it. And something so
Delegate
good.
those bad boys. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Delegate all the things you suck at by getting so good at what you're good at. You can afford to delegate.
Okay,
right?
that alone is just like everyone just took a big deep breath. Like, yes, you don't have to be great at the things you suck at. Just
I
have
still
someone
can't.
else do them.
I still can't spell. Like literally, if a Google Doc could talk to me, it'd be like, I don't even know what word you're trying to spell, dude. I can't even correct it because I don't know what you're trying to spell. But I don't care because I've worked on the things that I'm good at. So the only point I was making here is if you're going upstream, lack of confidence kills. If someone who wants
So
to have
true.
a better life, more fulfilled life, more income, more passion, more anything, you have to protect your confidence. Confidence creates momentum. So if you go upstream, identify what robs your confidence. And here's the brilliant part. Just kidding. Stop doing it or reduce it. And then on the opposite side, find out what builds your confidence. Is there a certain book? Is there a certain person? Is there a certain podcast? Is there a certain program, course, training? When you watch it, you feel amazing. You feel limitless. Don't feel bad for that. Do more of it because we get things done when we're in that state of mind. And remember, the last thing is they don't build statues of critics. They build statues of the crazy people, the dreamers.
Yes.
Right? So if number one is find that story that's already cost you way too much and shift it, tweak it, adjust it, or at least know when it's coming so you know your enemy.
It's the awareness of it that really is the transformation of saying, oh yeah, that's right. That's coming up again.
Yeah. And then the second one is protect your confidence. Just identify what robs it, do less of it. What builds it, do more of it. And then the third thing is find somebody who's already been there and model them, mentor with them, learn from, do whatever it takes. Don't learn on your own. That's the biggest, I think about it this way. Like so many people want to do a new thing. You said, where do I go? And I think I'm going to hold up a piece of my journal paper here, right? But I think it's like, I want to do something more. Let's just say we are going to go in the house building business. I want to build houses. What happens in most cases, people go, okay, I want to build houses. Here's my paper and my pen. Let me design the house. Should I do a 3-bedroom, a 5-bedroom? Should I do a hip roof, flat roof? Oh my God, how much should I spend? What colors? It's so overwhelming that you're looking at a blank slate and you wonder why. You say to yourself, I don't know where to start. I'm an imposter. I'm not that good. How could I ever build a house? But if you learn from somebody who's already been there, what if I've built 50 houses in my life? What if I came to you and said, oh my God, here's the blueprint that I have. This is the best blueprint I've ever had. This is the exact house that's the most efficient to build. People love it the most. I get to sell it with the most profit. Everything you need is in here. You could just tweak it to make it yours. All of a sudden you're like, oh, I could build a damn
I'm
house.
in. I want the house. Yes.
And if I said, here's the contractors, here's the land, how much you should pay for the land, all of a sudden you realize, and this is the big takeaway I want you to hear. In life, when we want to do something new, the first word that comes to our mind is how. How do we do it? How do I build that house? How do I create a course? How do I create a workshop? How do I write a book? I want to write a book. How do I write a book? Or should it be an ebook? Should I do podcasts? Should I do Instagram? Should I do YouTube videos?
This is every single one of my clients on the planet. Like, which one? How do I do it?
And then they're like, should I do dancing on TikTok or should I pay for ads on YouTube? No, I should be more business-like on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, they're so, that should be too stuffy. I like to be free. What should I do? And they do nothing.
Right.
So instead of asking how, you ready for the question to shift? Just ask who. Who's already done it? Who's already doing? That's why it's so good that you're following Keri. Who's already done what you want to do and do everything in your power to extract their knowledge and start off where they left off. Get in a mastermind, get in a workshop, go to the event, start the challenge, do whatever it takes because most people are thinking they got to learn on your own. The world is moving too fast to learn on your own. The world is moving too fast to go back to traditional education. I'm sorry, general education is not keeping up. We need specialized knowledge from people who've already been there. And once you understand that and that becomes a part of your culture, oh my God, life will never be the same.
Yes. Okay. I love this so much, Dean, because looking back at my own trajectory and my own life, when I really think about the mile markers, all the things that you just said, with going upstream is really understanding the stories you're telling yourselves, the limiting beliefs, like what is that neurological pathway that you just keep going down that isn't getting you to where you want to go. And then I love the eliminate to elevate. Like you've got to sometimes stop following, stop listening, and really protect your space. Because when I watch you too, and I love some of your reels, actually, I love all of your stuff, Dean, but it was like the question I get asked all the time too is like, how do you become more confident? How do I get confident like you on camera, Keri? And like, Dean, how do I rock the stage like you? And when you said, it all comes down to serving, but you have to be confident in yourself and what you're teaching. But
Do you
that
mind
is
if I shared a
how.
little story with you, Carrie?
No, please. Love your
Okay.
stories, Dean.
So
Share away.
when it comes to stage, you just said something, and I love what you teach and I love what you do for people. And my whole ability on camera shifted. People ask how to be authentic. Should I be authentic? How do you be transparent?
Yep.
If you have to think about being transparent, you're already missing the whole concept of transparency.
Yeah.
If you have to think about being authentic and you're trying to be authentic, you're missing the whole concept, like trying to act authentic, I should say. So I just want to share something with you. Where authenticity comes in, where transparency comes in. So I'm going to break three things down: authenticity, transparency, and how to be better on camera or on stage. Okay, so remind me of those.
Okay.
One, when it comes to transparency, that usually becomes a story, right? Transparency to me is associated. That's the way my brain locks it together. It's a story. Where most people screw up transparency is they tell a story of their entire life, when really you should be telling an authentic scene of your life. Just a moment, just a slice of a moment. Like I went through a divorce. I'm not an advocate of divorce, but as I was going through divorce, I got overwhelmed. I got anxiety for the first time. I don't even take aspirin. I was taking a Xanax twice a week. I was drinking wine, 2 glasses of wine 3 nights a week, because I had so much pent up fear about, how my parents handled their divorce. They've been divorced 50 years. They still don't talk to each other. I was projecting all of that pain that my kids were going to experience. I knew the relationship was over, but I was losing my mind, Keri. And then all of a sudden, I hired a love coach and a child-centered a divorce person. And I found out what I need to do. How do I open my heart? How do I replace all other emotions with compassion and empathy? And I focused on 5 things in my divorce that put my children first, and how to become real friends, an active listener, real friends with my previous wife. Not fake, not BS, not get triggered, not be. And when I focused on these 5 things, and I put my kids first, and I swore like a declaration here, I'll never talk behind your back. I'll never go to, I did all these things. And these 5 things, it changed everything. My previous wife is thriving. My kids, oh my God, are unbelievable. I'm married to the love of my life. And the whole point is, I just told you that scene for a second. If I said to you right now, hey, now that my kids are thriving, I'm remarried, I have a 2-year-old, we have a baby on the way, everybody's feeling great. I can't believe how amazing. I get to live into myself. I opened up my heart. I took the shell that was off. I became a better man. That's how I attracted an incredible woman. I have 5 things I did. Would you like to learn those 5 things? Who wouldn't want to learn those?
And the answer is yes, Dean.
Right.
Yes, we want to know.
Right. But here's the thing. Not that I am not selling that. I don't have a course on it. I do have 5 things. I tell all my friends who ask, because they wonder, how the hell is everybody friends?
I see a new course coming up in your future, Dean.
What's that?
I see a new course.
Right. So, but everybody, all my friends ask me, it's like, how the hell you do it? Like my previous wife, it's been a long time, was going to California this week and needed a truck. She called my current wife and said, hey, can I borrow Dean's truck? She's like, hell yeah. So she's in California with my truck right now. Like my friend's like, how the hell did you do that?
Right.
And your previous support, like Mother's Day, my current wife was sitting down with my kids making Mother's Day presents for like, how does that happen?
That's beautiful though. That's beautiful.
It is. And the reason I'm sharing that with you is I just told you a transparent story that it was the truth. But I only told you a slice of life, and I set up for you to go, okay, this guy's got the chops. What do you have? If I would have said, when I was 3, my parents got divorced, it was really, and I went through, by the time you got to the story, you'd be like, just please shut up. I don't care about your transparency.
Yes, you don't have that long.
You're depressing me. Like, and another thing people do with transparency is they leave you at the bottom. Like, don't tell the story and go, yeah, man, that kind of sucked. You're like, oh, right. So transparency, if you want to know, if you ever ask how to be transparent, just be you. Don't hold back, but only tell the scene of life that helps you get the outcome you're looking for from your audience. If you want them to buy a course on the 5 ways to have a child-centered divorce, then tell that one story. If you want to, whatever it is. So that's what I see when it comes to transparency. Authenticity to me is just not thinking about who you should be, but rather just being who you are. If you're, when I first started, I started on infomercials. The reason I started infomercials because there was no other options. People are like, why'd you do an infomercial? Because there was no internet. I started.
Right. There was no Instagram. Yes.
There was no Instagram, or there wasn't even MySpace. This was 1996, right?
Yes.
And when I first did it, I got inspired by Tony Robbins. That's why I did it. And I watched Tony Robbins and some other people. And I know the first infomercial I shot, I was trying to be them. And it was so hokey. Oh my God, I have the video. It is the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. I was 27 years old. It was so horrific. When I started finding my groove, my definition of authenticity is, listen, I wear a t-shirt every single day. I feel blessed. I have 14 companies. I've had more success than I've ever imagined possible. It is very difficult. I have 50 gray t-shirts, 50 light gray, and 50 white. That's me. That's authentically who I am. I used to wear a sports jacket on stage. I feel so uncomfortable. It's not me. Authenticity is, I don't have a vast vocabulary. I don't. You've been listening to me. I don't use big words. I tried to use big words for time. It didn't fit me. I didn't even know where they went in.
Right.
I don't even know how to spell
How
them.
do I use this word?
I didn't know how to use it. So why should I? But I thought I had to. Thought I had to project a certain way. I thought I had to wear a certain watch. All I'm saying is, we're at a time and space when there is somebody that just wants the best version of you. And when you become you, you repel those that shouldn't be following you. There's people that you don't want following because they don't align with you, right? There's certain things I do that I know aren't the same with other people. So the reason I'm saying that authenticity is more valued today than I believe ever before in history, because the world is so sick of the get rich for doing nothing, or they're just sick of all of it. They want the real version of you, even if it's not perfect. And then the third thing,
that, Dean.
The third thing I'll share is, how do you get more confident on camera or on stage? Is remember, and I know you've heard this, and I guarantee Keri teaches this to you, but I'll share this. It's not about you. It's not about you at all. When you go out, when you go to turn that camera on, if you're thinking, oh my God, I don't want to mess up. I want to remember.
What am I going to say?
I want to remember that one point. Oh my God. Oh, camera. Okay, everybody. Hi. But when you say to yourself, wow, I have something inside of me. I have something inside of me that people need right this very moment. And someone needs what I'm about to share. And it's about them. Today, before I went live with you, I just thought, how can I serve your audience where they are? It wasn't like, oh my God, do I have the right shirt on? Is my lighting great? Because I'm at my mountain house today and I don't have all the pieces here, and my computer dinged 4 times and I don't even know how to shut it off. I don't even know. But I'm not here to make my computer sound perfect, or the light. Look, you see a rim light in the corner. Yep. I don't care about any of that. What I care is if I deliver you one thing today that could shift your life. If just one thing I said shifts your life, I don't care if my hair's messed up, my shirt's messed up, I got a rim light, that the thing dinged. Who cares about any of that?
All right, my ladies. And I know there's some gentlemen out there too, but I have to tell you, Dean, we get so stuck in all of this, I have to tell my whole story, and I have to show up as someone wants me to be. And then, oh my Lord, what do I say and how do I say it? And you've really allowed us to just kind of break free from that. And I really feel like, okay, we have a new inspired living mentor here, everyone. Welcome, Dean Graziosi. It's just, it's.
Oh, thank you. And I'm going to finish. I know we're getting a little longer than we thought, and I hope you guys are all still with me, but I want to share how even in my adult life, this came to me. I got better on camera when I stopped making it about me. Now I've been on camera for almost 30 years, but I haven't been on stage for maybe a decade, 12, 13 years. And I think I just thought, and everybody else thought, you're great on camera, you just be good on stage. When I converted to stage, it's a whole nother world, right? And I started thinking, I got to be better. Now, rewind, Tony Robbins is the one that got me into this industry 25 years ago, 27 years ago when I bought his course, right? Now, fast forward a decade ago, Tony Robbins and I become friends. He calls me up and says, I'm doing an Asia tour. I'm doing Australia, then Tokyo, and then we're going to go to Shanghai, China. You want to come do the tour with me? I'm like, oh my God, amazing. 10,000 people in Tokyo.
Let me think about it, Tony. Let me think about it.
20,000 people in Shanghai, right? I get to Tokyo, Japan, go have some great sushi. I see the city. It's beautiful. The next day I go to speak on stage and I'm following Tony, and I go right back into the kid I was when I was like 9. I'm like, oh my God, am I going to follow him? Am I going to deliver it? And I got so in my head, it was all about me. Am I going to impress Tony, my dear friend? I don't want to let him down. I want to look good on stage. I put a sports jacket on. I got out. And then the other thing that happened, you got to hear this. Now I'm in business for a long time. I'm beyond the success I ever could have imagined, right? I already own my own plane. I own multiple houses. I'm doing better than I ever imagined possible, but I feel like a little kid because I'm following Tony Robbins. And I go out and I start sharing. And here's what I didn't realize, Keri. Every single person was being translated to, and I'm talking fast. And then I'd go, do you know what I'm saying? I raise my hand and nobody raised their hand. I'm like, oh my God, they're not listening to me, not realizing that the translation was like 2 minutes behind me. And then I'm in the middle of a sentence and people start going, I'm like, why are they raising their hand?
Right.
So I'm like, oh my God, I'm falling apart. I'm like, I'm coming unglued. So I know all this stuff.
I've taught in Hong Kong, so I literally know what you're talking about.
So now
right
I'm like, oh my God, I'm like red faced. And everybody said I did okay, but
Oh.
in my opinion, it was like horrible. So we jump on a plane, we fly to Shanghai. Tony calls, he's like, hey, come on up. He's like, I see what happened to you today, right? You need a brother, you need a family member. He's like, you worried about doing good for me. He like nailed it. He's like, the reason I love you, the reason you're so good at what you do, the reason you have millions of people following you and you sold millions of books and all that is because you always put other people first. That's what I love about you. Today,
Yes.
you were thinking about he's like, tomorrow, is there anybody better of what you're teaching than you? And he went through, he goes, we're in China. Do they need you? Do they need this? And he went through and he just kept talking about them, about them, about them, about them. And he's like, you're my brother. Just make it about them tomorrow. Man, I went down, I grabbed all the newspapers that were in English about what was going on and I just started living inside their minds. What do they need? How can I serve them? How can I be of service? Not care what Tony thinks or anybody else thinks. How can I be of service of them? Like a night and day shift. I went out there and crushed it in Shanghai. I had 20,000 people jumping so much the building was shaking and it was unbelievable. And I was the same person teaching the same thing. Day one, Tokyo was about me trying to make sure I look good in front of Tony. Day 2 in Shanghai, I was out there just to serve and all those fears and everything went away. So if you think about those 3 things, I truly believe authenticity, transparency, and it's about serving them. You'll take away that whole mystique. You won't care about the computer dinging or the silly rim light, or if you messed up and you didn't use the right articulate word. You're there to serve, and people know when you're there to serve compared to know when you're trying to put on a show.
Yes, yes. I tell you, I make up words all the time. I'm like, I don't know, I can't think of a word, so I'll just make up a word.
Love it. Love it.
You know, Dean, I think that is exactly why people love to follow you and why you've had the level of success that you've had is because you are authentic. And just like anything else, when it comes to stage, I've coached so many people that come from like Fortune 50 and then they need to be on camera. They're like, I don't know what to do. And vice versa. It just really comes down to serving your audience, being the most authentic version of yourself. I love what you've talked about with confidence and really understanding like the stories you're telling. I mean, Dean, I could literally talk to you for hours and understanding too, like where you're plugging yourself in, what you're listening to, what mentors you're surrounding yourself with, going and find someone who's done it before you. And you and Tony partnered up. And I just want to talk about this briefly because I think it's really powerful to think about. You took Tony's course how many years ago?
Like 27 years ago.
27 years ago. And in 2019, I believe you guys partnered up and now like really the movement you guys are creating together. Talk to us about like just how important it is to plug in, to surround yourself with mentors. And what is it? I mean, obviously you just shared a little bit, but what has it been like to work with Tony and to now create really these incredible challenges and movements that you guys have created together?
Well, you know, the cool part is we ended up, somebody introduced this over a decade ago and we became dear friends quick. And we talk almost every night. Literally, we leave a voice memo for each other. He leaves me at like 3 a.m. I wake up at 5. He goes to bed at like 3. So like we joked that we got the whole world covered 24 hours a day, right? But we became such good friends. And I watched so many people wanting to do business with Tony that I decided I'm not going to partner with Tony. I'm just going to be his friend. So we'd hook up 4 times a year. We talked 3-4 days a week and we built this great friendship. But every time we were together, all we talked about was the self-education industry. He learned from Jim Rohn and it changed his life. And look where he gets to impact and create success in his life. I learned from Tony I get to create impact and create success for other people and have success for my family. And all we ever did is talk about, wow, this industry, the traditional education system is just not keeping up. People trying to learn on their own is not working. And everybody, every single one of you listening, you have a life experience, a skill, a hobby, a passion, a mess you've gone through, like I shared with my divorce, and you're on the other side. You have a bit of knowledge or a lot of knowledge that somebody else needs today, right?
Yes.
I got Tony's knowledge. Then I fell in love with self-education. I have a million mentors now, right? So the more we talked about, we realized, wow, this is an industry when Tony and I started, it wasn't the coolest industry in the world. Now it's an industry at about $1 billion a day, right?
I read
Right
that
now,
and almost fell off my chair.
the
$1 billion
self-education
a day.
a day, because people are thinking to themselves, hey, if I want to lose weight, go vegan. I want to do better hair. I want to go get through a divorce. I want to sell better. I want to be better on camera. People aren't saying, I want to go back to college or let me learn on my own. They're like, who's already done? Oh, Keri can help me with this. Dean can help me with this. People are, my daughter, when she wants to get something done, she thinks she goes online and finds a course or a workshop or something, right?
Google. Yep.
Now that this industry is so popular, Tony and I got together about 4 years ago and said, hey, let's help the world see that they have a gift, that they should feel bad for not sharing it. And it's one of the few industries that's exponentially growing, even though we're going into a winter of an economy. This industry is in the springtime. You could do it from home. You get to serve others. You get to impact others. You allow people to go quicker and faster. And it's economically unbelievable if you do it right. And we decided, who better than Tony and I? We got 65 years in this industry. We're not like, we didn't like used to do it. We're still doing the biggest challenges in the world and impacting so many lives. So we decided, let's create a process and help people enter and scale confidently in the self-education industry, the upskill industry, the information aid, the course creator, create a workshop, a mastermind, write an ebook, be a coach. There's so many different fragmented people out there doing it, teaching little buckets. We said, how do we create the one place, like a family, where we can help people? And if you watched it, it truly became a movement. The first, we've already seen, 2.5 million people in the last 3 years. And we're showing people that go, I thought about it, but didn't know I could, or I tried and it seemed overwhelming. And we're showing people how to really do it. And I'm excited because this is our legacy product, because how long Tony and I can teach, hopefully for another 50 years each. But when we're gone, we said, let's teach the teachers. Let's show everyone. If you're watching this still, you have a skill, a mess, a hobby, a passion, an expertise that someone else needs. And when you learn how to identify it, figure out who wants it, how to elegantly sell it to them, how to make it a real business, and life's never the same. So that's why we do a big challenge every year, and we do it for free for 5 days. And we just show people over those 5 days how to be in this industry. So at the end of the 5 days, they're like, I'm all in, or thanks, it was awesome, but maybe not for me. And it's been pretty amazing.
It is amazing. I was a part of the last one and the one before that. And just, again, just to be a student, I've been an entrepreneur for 24 years, been teaching people how to be on camera for 10. And I will say there's never been a more important time to choose to be visible, to choose you, to share your message, to be in your zone of genius, to not wait for someone to give you a job or to validate your worth. And when you and Tony talk, there really is something magical. And I know you bring in so many incredible different experts and leaders, and you open up the massive door of opportunity and possibility for people. And Dean, that is really why I wanted to have you on the show too, because I just feel like I've met a spirit brother in the world who really, we can do anything we set our mind to, but quite often we get lost in how, we get lost in overwhelm, we get lost with who do I follow and when, and should I do a membership? Should I do this? Should I do that? So when is the next challenge? It is Time to Thrive challenge. Yes.
Yeah.
Time to Thrive.
Yeah, yes. A couple of things. If you're thinking to yourself, I don't know if I'm an expert, I don't have a following, who would listen to me? It's all the same things that everybody's been thinking. And now Tony and I have people in 4,500 different niches in 156 countries, and everybody getting their first sale was like, I didn't think I could. Oh my God, right? From people helping owners of German Shepherds heal hips naturally, or like everything you could possibly, healing eczema naturally, or losing weight naturally, or going vegan. You have something. So here's what I'd suggest. We're calling it the Time to Thrive challenge, because this is a time in history when most people will freeze or sit on their hands. It is not a time to try to survive. It is a time to thrive. You just need to know where to start. Earlier, I said most people get overwhelmed because they're trying to start a blueprint with a blank piece of paper. We've been doing this for 60 plus years. come see our blueprint. Come be an investigative reporter. See if this is for you. It's not kind of free. It's completely free. That's why we do this. Tony and I are in a space in our lives where we can afford to do that. We have a desire to do it. And we get to bring the best guests. Even Matthew McConaughey's coming because he wrote Green Lights. And
Nice.
I love the most because Green Lights is a self-education product. So he's coming. Russell Brunson, Jenna Kutcher, so many incredible people are coming. Fortunately, Tony and I, when we ask, we get amazing people to come. And they're all so bent on showing you what they're doing. So it starts on August 2nd, about 2 hours a day. Don't dabble. And just because it's free, I'm going to say this, don't discredit this. This should be $1,000. It should be $5,000.
Yes, it absolutely.
Yep.
Yes.
So you go to Thrive115, thrive115.com. Go check out the page, register, but don't just register. Again, I know it's free. Watch the follow-up video, get the confirmation page, go to the Facebook group, put it in your calendar, and come show up and play full out. Again, pretend you paid $1,000. Get an accountability partner. Call your sister, your cousin, your friend, and say, hey, do this challenge with me. Give them the link to Thrive 115. Show up and play full out. And over 5 days, I promise we will not waste your time. There's so much value, so many incredible speakers. And at the end of the 5 days, you can decide, hey, this is for me, or thanks for the info.
Absolutely. Play full out. You know what you fill your mind with is exactly what you create in your life every single day. Take these 5 days, fill your brain with the knowledge and the expertise of these superstars. And I want to say a byproduct, you just might be really motivated and inspired. I'm just saying that might happen.
I think that's a pretty good byproduct.
All right. Dean, thank you so much for your time today. Again, go to Thrive 115, register for the challenge. I'm going to be there playing full out. Be a lifelong learner. Take action. Know that no one creates your life but you, right? No one's going to save you. There are more millionaires made in a recession and a winter economy than any other time. This is yours. It is your time to thrive. And we are here to partner with you and to make sure that happens. Dean, thank you so much for your time today. It was an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show. And I look forward to being a part of the challenge and being inspired and motivated and keep learning.
Well, Keri, this has been great. I appreciate your energy and what you're doing for the world. This was definitely worth it. And can't wait to see everybody on the challenge. And listen, don't let the outside world, I know I don't want to end with trying to make it some powerful statement, but really remember this. It is so easy to let the outside world control our emotions. It is so easy to be the thermometer of life. I know it's a silly statement, but if you think about that, when the outside world goes up and down, you will. I'm going to encourage you, gain the capabilities especially through uncertain times, to be the thermostat. You adjust the emotion. When you do that in a time like this, it is definitely a time to thrive. So thank you, Keri. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, Dean. All right. We'll see you during the Time to Thrive Challenge. Thank you so much again, Dean, for being on the show. You've just heard another uplifting episode of Inspired Living with Keri Murphy, the podcast. I hope you loved it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. And if you'd like to know more about Inspired Living or to get your hands on many of our awesome free resources, such as the Be Studio Ready Guide, simply visit us at inspiredliving.tv/podcast. Remember, your vision is your destiny, and we're here to help you bring it to life. Join me again next week for another extraordinary episode.